I've been concerned about what the Iranian ambassador has been putting on social media accounts for months and months and months now. And I raised those concerns with the Department of Foreign Affairs and with the Foreign Minister in Senate estimates back in October last year. Now, we have seen a complete lack of action from the government regarding those comments from the ambassador. Yes, they condemn them publicly, but what we need to see now is hard and fast action. And I and my colleagues in the opposition believe that the comments from the ambassador have absolutely reached the threshold where the government should now be looking at making the ambassador persona non grata, making him pack his bags and sending him on his way out of this country, because that sort of anti-Semitism that he has been tweeting about is not acceptable here in this community, nor of many of the other things that he's been tweeting about, quite frankly. So it's time for him to be sent on his way. Absolutely, I think it's time for the ambassador to go. He has been allowed to sit in his house in Canberra in the embassy for long enough now, tweeting these horrible things and sending a very dangerous message to the Australian community. And as I've said in this forum here today, I know that the views of the Iranian ambassador are in no way representative of our wonderful Iranian community here in Australia. So it's not appropriate that he continues to sit here in Canberra as our ambassador. I think the tensions in the Middle East are incredibly concerning at the moment, and we've seen, particularly over the last week, those tensions only continuing to rise. I can't imagine what life must be like for Iranians in Iran at the moment. For Israelis in Israel, it must be a really horrible experience knowing that the geopolitical circumstances in the region are just getting worse and worse and worse. And I'm very concerned about the role that the IRI regime is playing in all of this. We know that they fund the Houthis, they fund Hezbollah, they fund Hamas. They train these groups up to spread terrorism in the region and to spread destruction and violence in the region. And so that's why we here in Australia and in all countries in the West need to be doing everything we can to hold this regime to account and make it clear that what they are doing is not acceptable, and putting the policy settings in place where we can deter their behaviour as much as humanly possible. For us here in Australia, listing the IRGC as a terrorist organisation is the number one thing that our government should be looking at, and we've heard here at this forum today just how disappointed the Iranian community is that that hasn't happened yet.